All right, looks like we are in fact live here on YouTube, and we're going to be doing a after action review on our experiences at Operation Winter Forge. DJ is going to be joining me. DJ was not in fact at Winter Forge this year, but last year he was. So for those of you guys who don't know, I'll probably have to say this a few times because people are going to be joining the stream, but Winter Forge is a 5-day winter warfare training course utilizing the Miles system, right? The Miles system is what the military uses to practice engagements with actual M4s, actual blank ammunition, and it's the best possible way to mimic the ballistics of an actual rifle, right? Accurate up to 500 yards, this and that. So this is a 5-day course. The first 3 days consists of mainly classroom learning, and the last 2 days is a field training exercise where you're literally in a tent like this, or sometimes just sleeping outside, and you're battling for straight up the whole time. I mean, it's 48 hours of constant winter warfare training, or, you know, basically 2 patrols trying to battle it out with each other. It's pretty cool. There's nothing really like it. There's just nothing like it, period. And I've run the gamut. You guys know. I've gone through a lot of different training courses. As far as small unit tactics, One Shepherd and S&S Training Solutions are the 2 kind of main places that you want to be if you want to actually learn how to fight as a small unit. If you want to actually learn all that special forces, shoot and scoop type of shit, then this is where you want to go, because this is exactly what they teach you. One Shepherd does it over 6 separate semesters, each semester being 1 week long. So that's 6 weeks total. And you could supplement with S&S Training Solutions. They do courses like this, which is 1 week long during the winter only. And so you become a 4-season warrior. Fall, spring, summer, those courses are offered at One Shepherd. Winter, you get here at S&S Training Solutions, which is what I just did. And it was marvelous. All right. It sucked. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't fun. It never is. But if you actually want to experience what it's like to be fighting in Ukraine, for example, well, this is the closest you're ever going to get without actually going over there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait and let DJ jump in here. And in the meantime, I'm going to play a little bit of music just so we give everybody a chance to log on here. And we will, in fact, get started as soon as DJ gets his ass in the chat. 3. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Oh my gosh, you know what? I just realized I never even sent him the freaking invite. It's been a while since I did the live stream. All right, now he can join the chat. We'll be right back. DJ. Get this music out of here. DJ, what's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, I'm all right, brother. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. How's everything on the homestead over there?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
You guys getting any snow yet over in Wisconsin?
Yeah, so it's been snowing on and off. It had melted for a while because we had that like El Nino warm wave come through from the south. It just snowed last night, probably about maybe an inch and a half to 2 inches. Little slushy today. We're supposed to get some more snow here, so I'm just waiting for it to accumulate back up because I have a camouflage effectiveness test of some homemade winter camo that I have to do for a video.
Nice.
And then just getting out in it because I love the snow. But it had melted for a while, and then when we had snow back in December, it came with a serious cold snap, and I was trying to do some filming outside then, but my camera just would not film in the cold because it was like minus 35, minus 40 with the wind chill during the day.
Yeah.
Like to the point where you're outside for 5 minutes and there's instant ice on your beard and stuff. Pretty epic, but technical problems, cameras really don't work in that cold weather. GoPros might, but I didn't think about taking that one out. So just stuff like that. But otherwise things are good. Just busy with work and stuff. Kind of have a little bit of a break for the next like 2 weeks or so. And then back to it. So how are you? How was Winter Forge? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Winter Forge was really interesting this last time. It was a lot different than when we went into it. When you and I did it last year,
yeah,
it was that was its second iteration. This was now its third.
Okay.
Your German, I guess this one, right? Third. So
yeah.
So it was
Sleevius, not Sleevius.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sein. I've been studying a little bit.
Yeah, very good. I know I sent you a bunch of resources on that. It's a fun language, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's in our blood, but knowing English, it's not too bad to pick up on German. It's not.
No, it's really not. Like a lot of the words are pretty much the same, honestly.
Yeah. A lot of English words have been adapted over to German too. Yeah. So
yeah, I mean, that too. Yeah.
They still call it.
Though I feel like a lot of German words, like English is based on German somehow.
Oh yeah. English is really a mix of like German, French, Spanish, and a little Latin and stuff like that. Yeah, English is a big bastardization of all those languages together. So I mean, yeah, there's definitely
just like us to take whatever we want and make it ours. Come here. Oh, nice, man.
Repping the shirt today. Yeah.
I got my hoodie over in the closet, man. It's a select group of people that wear that.
It is. You can only get it at the pro shop.
That's a fucking awesome pro shop, isn't it, man?
It is. It's really
I was like a kid in a candy store there.
I know. I was thinking of I know we're kind of getting off tangent here, but Blackwater Worldwide, because that company still exists as a ammo and gun manufacturer owned by Eric Prince. They have a line of Blackwater gear, like
cool.
And I want to pick some of that up too, just because, fuck yeah.
It's classic. It's classic, man. I mean,
that
bear claw, like anyone who knows fucking knows, and they see that they're like, oh shit, okay.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. They also make back plates for Glocks with
really?
Blackwater branded back plate for your Glock. Yeah.
Man, if I had worked for them, bro, I would have that on my Glock all day.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah.
Shit, Chris Reed is in the house. DJ, you guys never. I don't know if you ever met. No, but
no, he wasn't at the last Winter Forge. No.
Yeah, but he was there this time, and he's a One Shepherd alumni. I think he's got Chris, 4 semesters under your belt already. So he's going to be going into the Marine Corps, I think, next year. 18-year-old kid. So got a great head on his shoulders, and very proud to say that he was in my fire team as well. So. Nice. We were just talking about how different Winter Forge was from when DJ was there last year to this year. When you were there last year, it was 3 days?
Yeah, it was 3 days. Well, and I had gone down the basically a day early for the work party, and got a discount, which was really nice. But it kind of bit me in the ass too, because I was exhausted that
Yeah,
first
no,
day
it did,
out
man.
there.
And
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Last year, DJ drove down and he calls me at like, I think it was like 2 a.m. And you were like, I'm fucking going down now. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I'm in bed. Like, you should be too. And he's like, no, I'm driving down now. And I'm like, fuck, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And so he shows up, and then would you show up like without sleeping pretty much, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, I had started driving because it takes me about 8.5 hours to get down there. Yeah, about 8.5 hours to get down there. Because Ullman, Missouri is not the easiest place to get to in the first place. It's in the Ozarks in western Missouri. So I had to drive. I drove through what 3, 4 states to get there. About 8.5 hour drive. So I started driving at midnight, and then got there at about 8:30, 8:45 in the morning, and then had some breakfast with them, and then we just went and did the work party all day, and then people started showing up that afternoon. So
Yeah, it was brutal. So DJ was already on a lack of sleep, but
yeah,
it was a lot different because last year, second iteration, I got there the night before, right? We crashed at the fob.
Yeah.
Those of you who don't know, the fob is just a couple of big GPU tents that are set up with some cots. That's it, and a wood floor. It's got a nice wood floor, but it's like planks. So
yeah,
we crashed there for the night. And the next morning we wake up and it's morning of classroom, right? We discuss all the stuff that, Chris, that you guys went into for the first 3 days, but we was condensed literally in a morning. And then that afternoon we went out and had more classroom out in the field. We patrolled out into we patrolled out into the field, right?
yeah. We rocked out, and yeah, I had to reconfigure my ruck like halfway through the walk. So that's why we had to take a patrol stop there. I actually had to fucking readjust something because something shifted on my ruck and my pack that I was using at the time. And I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. So I had to readjust it, and that was a pain in the ass, but I got it done.
Well, that's the good thing about doing this stuff over and over again, too, is,
Well-
you learn what to pack and,
Yeah.
How to pack it. And then eventually it just becomes second nature. And I know, DJ, you're an infantry guy, so it's like already kind of second nature, but
It is.
that was a while back. And like to have a refresher was a good thing for you.
Oh, it really was. Well, and the thing was too, I didn't bring the right pack. I hadn't brought my large Tasmanian Tiger, like Bergen style ruck. I had taken basically a 3 to 5 day assault pack, and that was like packed to the brim with all my stuff. It worked, but it wasn't the most comfortable with walking distance for patrol. Because again, when I was in the military, we were in Iraq. I mean, a lot of vehicle work, a lot of mobile stuff. So a lot of the time, you may have like a day pack on doing dismounted patrol, but everything's in your Vic, so that was a big difference there. I hadn't done a lot of field ops. I mean, apart from some contracting stuff, but again, we had vehicles, so hadn't done a lot of like just all on foot field stuff really since, other army training stuff, years ago. So it was a really nice refresher in that regard too. Yeah. And figuring out what did and didn't work and everything. So, that's why I, this is actually my second one, because my first one got totally royally fucked up over the years, and I had to get a new one. So now that I have a new one, it's going to be a lot better off for different training cycles and everything. So the assault pack worked, but it wasn't, it wasn't optimal. So.
Yeah. And, if you guys actually see behind you, I've got my Alice pack set up right there, and it's small. Alice packs, even the large Alice pack, it's small, right? Like for winter warfare shit, like you ideally need something a little bigger if you want to put your sleeping bag in it. You got a lot of shit you need to carry. But with all that being said, like there's still not a lot that you need to take with you, right? You need to take a sleeping bag, a canteen cup, which you generally will have on your battle rattle, right? Like there's some things you need to take, but when it comes down to it, your level 7s, your puffy marshmallow suit, like some extra layers. But when it comes down to it, you want to leave room in that for when you're shedding layers too. So there's a lot that goes into the winter warfare. DJ knows firsthand now. And like you were saying, DJ, and by the way, Reed, if you want to jump in here at any point, man, in the comments and just like let us know stuff from your perspective, feel free to jump in. Like you were saying, DJ, number one, you were in the fucking desert, right? You were in the heated, like you were in the fucking sweating it out, not freezing it, right? Number two, like, except for basic training, they don't really do a lot of this miles patrolling stuff. I mean, until you get into the
Well,
echelons.
there is quite a bit of it. But again, because of the GWAT, there was a shift in focus to MOUT, the military operations in urban terrain, which we did a lot of. And then doing NTC, the National Training Center, the desert warfare training stuff. Which it still gets cold as hell at night in the desert, and they still kind of have a summer and winter kind of season in the desert too, or depending on the desert you're in. So it still gets cold at night. So we still had, our microfiber fleece tops and, our polypro thermals and stuff. But again, logistically, it's logistically just different in the military because we have vehicles, we have all this stuff. We usually commandeered a building for an OP or whatever that, so, we had some modernized amenity in our operations base and things like that, or a built up fob that we were operating out of and not doing it from scratch, apart from just training bivouacs and field training exercises and FTXs and military training, which again, we do all the time, but we did all the time, but there was a bit of a shift. So it was a little bit different in nature in that regard. Now, what you're seeing, like right now with Ukraine, for example, and the winter warfare going on right now there, but it's in, a pretty modern European country, so some of the dynamics of how we did things, in the GWAT in Iraq and stuff, and the MOUT training and everything does apply there because you have some more modern amenity. You have a building, you have a house that you can take over as your ad hoc OP or whatever, and you're not out there setting up a tent unless you have to go out into a ridge line or a wood line and, set up an LPOP or whatever, some crossover of dynamics, but in the principle and the foundation of training, that's where it all applies and can cross over, is from that foundation. So, and it's always good to go back and train back on it. So.
No, absolutely. And, I mean, this is just paramount stuff. I mean, if you think that shit hits the fan out here and you're going to be living in some nice fancy hotel fob, you're mistaken. It's going to be, a makeshift patrol base for 24 to 48 hours max, right? Before the fucking drones find you and you have to move. It's going to be just like this. And this is what you want to be doing. So, and Reed can tell you, I mean, he said the same thing, DJ, and Reed said, I watched Brent's videos and it looked really like one way, and I got out here, fucking sucked. Like I was saying the whole time, like, Reed, bro, I know exactly how you feel, man. Like when me and DJ got there the first time, the whole time I was like, this sucks. Like, I'm glad to be here because I'm learning a lot, but there's no way around it. It fucking sucks. Winter fighting is the worst. Like, it's the worst. You can't get around it. I mean, so DJ, when we were out there, we were, Brent was our patrol leader.
Yep.
And we were operating out of Von Ruck shelters, which I never want to fucking hear the word again.
Fucking hate Von Rex. That's one thing I don't like. And I saw they brought it back for this year.
Well, no. So I was on the One Shepherd team. So One Shepherd showed up.
Okay. You're right.
And last minute, they put me on the One Shepherd team. And, at first I was upset because I only had my multicams, and they were like, well, now you're on One Shepherd. And I'm like, well, I don't have any OD greens. Like, why didn't you, whatever. It worked out really well because this was our hotel that we had set up, a nice tent, and it was out freaking standing. Now the other guys on Brent's team
had the Von Rex.
Von Rex, yeah, they were out there, man. So Dr. Fritz Larson was our patrol leader, and he was like, "Fuck that! I'm not setting up that. You guys are intense," and I'm like, "Yes, high five. We're living luxury now," and we were. So
nice.
We had a fire watch, and the problem was that there were so few people that came, because who the fuck wants to do this unless you're just nuts or unless you have a deep sense of patriotism? Not a lot of people come. So we had 8 people, including the PL and APL.
Really? Wow.
9 people, including the PL and APL. And so the other team had roughly the same numbers.
I mean, that's a little bit bigger than last year. I mean, I think in total, how many people were there?
There, you had the light fighter study group on one side, which I think was like 4 dudes.
Yeah. And then
you had us, which was probably around 8, 9.
Yeah, I think somewhere in there. Yeah. So, yeah, not
Similar.
huge, but
But the problem was that, so there has to be somebody in the tent at all times on
yeah,
fire watch, right? Because we're burning wood.
right,
You also have to have someone down on a rest cycle
right,
inside the tent, right? And then you've got your man standing outside on sentry duty.
right.
That's a whole fire team right there.
Yeah,
That's literally except the team leader, that's the whole fire team. So
yeah.
then you've got one fire team doing that and the other fire team pulling security, or able to kick out patrols. We
Or
we
going
kicked out
out.
like we kicked out literally like one or two patrols. It was amazing. It was so nice, man. I was like relaxed
Yeah.
the whole time. And
uh,
and Reed was like, fuck, man. And I was like, Reed, you don't know how good you have it, bro.
yeah,
So,
no, yeah.
the other thing was when, I heard that Brent's team, you know how Brent is. He's a fucking madhouse. And so he kicked out patrols every hour on the hour. The guys were smokehouse. And
Yeah.
that's just, he's very much a hard charger. He wanted to kill us really bad. And we wanted to, like, hang in our tents and like it was amazing.
Yeah, that's true, Jesse. No bugs.
No
Yeah,
bug. That is
winter.
true. That is
And
true.
I live in the far north Midwest. So it gets quite cold, and we have quite a bit of snow, especially the farther north I get into my state, sandwiching in between the Great Lakes and very near the border of Canada. So we have a lot of that. So I'm conditioned to it, and some other people are conditioned to it. And then we know what to expect in that regard, so it doesn't suck as much. But then with like certain conditional things of training, especially like the Von Rec shelter, it holds no heat in, very little overhang with the Von Rec. You really have to tuck yourself in under the sides of the Von Rec shelter to stay out of the elements as much as possible. If snow's falling down on you, or you're just getting clumps dripping off the trees on you and stuff, I mean, it's miserable. And if the wood is wet, like what happened last year, the wood got wet. That all that wood we cut for the work party got wet, and it smoked us out really bad, which wasn't terrible, but at the same time, it was nice. Von Rick was open in the top because it did get a lot of that smoke out, but we still got smoked out pretty good from the wet wood.
I opened up my gear bag. I keep all of my winter gear in one bag. I opened it up before Winter Forge and it reeked like fucking campfire smoke. I had washed everything.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it was bad. That smoke was terrible.
yeah. It was pretty bad. So I mean, there are some things you can do conditionally to get used to it. Even like where you're at, you go up into the mountains.
Mhm.
I saw it just earlier watching Live Storms Media. They were documenting the snowfall in the mountains in your area. So going up there, you can kind of acclimate to it a little bit if you go up there fairly regularly to do that. But if you're not used to it, it makes it worse. But if you're in luxury like the heated tent, it's you're good to go. Or even just a better ad hoc 1 to 2 man shelter with proper overhang and some good insulation to it. I mean, you're way better off. I personally think the Von Rec is not an optimal shelter even for winter. There's much better options out there just by using a couple of tarps. So
It is. I mean, so the thing, it's a trade-off, right? Because this
yeah,
is an Arctic 5-man tent.
right,
And Von Recs are a different option. Now, the nice thing about a Von Rec is if you have to go light, you're going to use a Von Rec because you can carry that in your ruck. Each man carries a shelter half.
right,
And you're able to start a fire. Boom, you've got some kind of shelter, right?
right.
Whereas this, you're really only carrying this out if you have a vehicle to bring it out to you, right?
Yeah,
So this
yeah,
is more for actual Arctic operations
yeah,
where you are. And so this is the way Doc Larson put it to us in the leadership course, right? Picture fighting on the moon.
yeah,
You literally, you're in an airlock. Okay. If you want to go outside of that airlock, you have to take like 15 minutes to put your spacesuit on.
yep,
Then you have to go and clear another airlock and then go out into the
yep,
moon. It's
yep,
same thing as Arctic warfare. When it's, I mean,
yep,
DJ, you know about this cold temperature better than I do.
yep,
-35. This is extreme cold weather. You're not
yeah,
doing anything out there that doesn't involve a tent and a vehicle. And
yeah,
it's very slow and methodical. You move up a little bit, you set up camp.
yep,
Next team moves up a little bit, they set up camp, and it's just like that. That's why, from what Doc was explaining to us, in Ukraine, even, you don't see in wintertime a lot of different little skirmishes. You see big pushes.
Yep.
Because logistically it takes a large division size,
Yep.
outfit or whatever to be able to logistically do that. And
Yep.
that's why it's always big pushes and not little small skirmishes.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Very, very much so for winter. Yeah. Yeah. Logistically, it's just crazy because like a big 5-man tent like that, exactly. Logistically, how are you going to transport that? You're probably going to have to put it in a drag sled behind you on some skis or a snowmobile or something. If you can't get a Unimog or some kind of wheeled or tracked vehicle out there or whatever, large tracked vehicle, so logistics are 3 times an issue in winter conditions. And that's a big thing. And then tactically and strategically, absolutely. Yeah. A lot more big planned, logistically supported large operations are the name of the game in winter. Just because the rest of the time, I mean, and it's understood on both sides or on all sides, fighting, you've got to fucking try and survive, while taking the fight to each other. So it's just one of those understood things. And when it gets to extreme colds like up here, it's actually not been that bad lately. It's been 20 Fahrenheit out at night, probably down to 0 Fahrenheit, which is like what, like negative 15, negative 20 Celsius. I can't remember the exact change off there, but things, it hasn't been terrible, but when when we get those cold waves that are a little bit more typical, we're seeing, negative 15 Fahrenheit and then getting into anything past negative 25 Fahrenheit is starting to become deadly cold. Anything colder than minus 40 Fahrenheit. So like the end of 2018 into 2019, the polar vortex that we had then, during the day here, it was with wind chill, it was like minus 55, and it was or like minus 50, minus 55 Fahrenheit, and it was hitting like minus 55, almost minus 60 Fahrenheit at night. That gets so cold, you have to cover and protect your eyes with goggles or at least sunglasses, because the direct cold air and wind in your eyes will freeze your eyeballs. It will damage your eyes. So you have to take extra precautions. And that's another huge logistical thing and survival thing when dealing with those kinds of temperatures. Even at minus 35, that is deadly cold. Very dangerous cold. You can get frostbite very easily on any unprotected skin if you're outside for more than 10 minutes. So that's when you need to be wearing ski masks or chamogs or things like that to cover your face. Your eyes are still okay at that kind of cold, but even then, it's still probably good to have something on to just try and reflect a little heat back into them. At minus 35 Fahrenheit, just things like that. And I mean, logistically with layering and everything too, the ICWIC system is great. It's a very tried and true system, and it's very effective. There is a lot of ad hoc things that you can do too. Last year's Winter Forge, when I was there with you and everything, and then when I've gone on hunting trips where it's minus 25 out up here and things like that, and camping trips and things like that, some of the civilian thermals and stuff like that, like the Redbird brand thermals are excellent thermals. Under Armour has different levels of thermal layers, from like level 1 to 4 being for the most extreme cold. They work fantastic as a base layer for wearing layers, but not having to wear as many layers and still be very warm and protected. Last year's Winter Forge, when I was there, I was pretty, again, I'm used to it, but I was pretty comfortable in just 3 layers. So a t-shirt, and then wool is still king. It is for winter. Wool is still king. So it was, for me, for the most part, it was a t-shirt and either like a Redbird thermal or a wool commando sweater, a Milsurp sweater. I have a Belgian one. Oh yeah, I love it. It's so comfy. And then I wore a 511, my 511 duty rain shell, which is a completely waterproof, non-breathable, rain shell jacket. That's what I had on. And at some points I even had to open my jacket up because I was sweating in just 3 layers. especially when you're working to set up the camp or going on patrols and stuff like that. Nice thing about wool, it can get wet and still insulate and keep you warm. Still one of the only things that does that effectively, which is why wool is still king in a lot of ways. But that's all I had. I only needed 3 layers. And on the bottoms, I only ended up wearing, sometimes I was wearing the thermal trousers under my standard pants. Otherwise, it was just the pants, and then having good socks and proper boots. Which my one pair of boots had failed, so we had to get a different pair. But that was an oversight thing. And make sure you do check your boots, because after a couple of years, the glue can fail on boots. You need to check your threads. You need to make sure that certain areas that need proactive waterproofing to them, if they're not a complete leather boot or whatever, insulated leather boot and stuff, you need to check that stuff so that nothing does get compromised. You don't notice any failure of glue or cracks in your soles or anything like that, because that stuff can cause problems for you. That's also
You know what I brought with me this year?
What's that?
Mickey Mouse boots.
Yeah, good.
Fuck, dude, like a game changer.
Yeah.
So for those of you guys who don't know, the Mickey Mouse boots are the Arctic warfare boots. There's only like one unit that still uses them, but they're the Arctic unit, right, in Alaska and stuff.
Yep.
They're not to be worn out of patrol, only for standing sentry duty around, your camp or your bivouac. But they are completely waterproof, and they're not expensive. You can get them for like $50 used.
Yeah.
And they are like the extreme winter warfare cold boot. And I had that, and then I spent some money and I bought the level 7 puffy coat and puffy pants. Whenever I had to go out on a sentry duty, man, I didn't feel a thing. It was amazing. So what they taught us to do was just ruck in your Mickey Mouse boots and wear your boots, your field boots for patrol. And both of us didn't do that last year. Both of us just had one pair of boots. I wish I had known about this. I mean, this is the nice thing about doing 3 days of training before you actually step off, is that they tell you all of this stuff. And yes, Dr. Chris Larson had served in Korea in the extreme cold out there. So he's well acquainted with it. And then Tyler Jackson, who was also teaching our course, we've had him on the podcast.
Oh, Tyler's great. I love Tyler.
Freaking amazing dude.
Awesome guy.
And he was with the airborne, and he was teaching Arctic warfare. He almost froze to death in a trench in fucking Latvia. So he knows what he's talking about too. And that's the nice part about having 3 days of classroom stuff. And it's not, not all in the classroom, but 3 days of training before you step off is, I'm like so much more educated now. I feel like I know exactly what DJ's saying about this winter stuff. Whereas last year I got it because I had to suffer through it, but I didn't know the details. And things like the Mickey Mouse boots, things like the proper layering of the ECWEX, and even just things like how do you lead men. And I was in the leadership course. They had the basic course and the leadership course. Reed was in the basic course because it was his first time. If he chooses to come back, if he's not in the Marine Corps by then, I doubt he will. But if he chooses to come back and he's not in the Marine Corps by then, he'll do the leadership course, and that's how they're doing it. So to be able to lead men in the winter in the sub-zero temperatures, it's completely fucking different than leading a men in summer or spring or fall. It's completely different. So to have all of this experience now, it's amazing. And I'm very thankful I was able to do that. But the one thing I'll say about the layers, dude, is the first 2 days were like 60 degrees. It was actually perfect timing. The gods of war smiled upon us because in our training, it was nice and sunny and like amazing. Literally, the night that we went to sleep and then we woke up the next morning to go out on the FTX, it started snowing and it fucking pissed down snow all over the place. And it looked like you guys got a hell of a lot more snow this year than last year. We did. And it's so funny too, because last year the gods of war smiled upon us again because literally we got there and it started snowing. And it had rained. The good Lord loves a soldier. Yeah. Oh yeah. Why is the sky blue? Because God loves the infantry. But last year it was raining the night before we stepped off, and that morning of us stepping off, it was snowing. But that night before, when it was raining, where my cot was in the tent at the fob, there was a hole in the fucking tent above me. So my fucking sleeping bag and my cot got wet. That was like, oh great. The worst.
Luckily,
Those tents are old.
yeah,
You've
yeah,
got
they
mold in them, and
yeah, they just need repaired. That's all. They just need some good repair and a little TLC, and they'll be fine. I mean,
yeah,
they're
one of
still.
those fucking GPU tents, man. Those things are amazing.
Oh yeah, you a Sportsman's Guide has some for sale. They're like, I mean, they're like $2,000, but still,
It's
you
not
know, no, it's not for that
great
size of tent.
option. I mean, if you had a homestead or a retreat and you needed to house a small
Yeah,
RV, like it's a
yeah.
great, yeah, it's a great option. And then you throw the heater in there and you're all set up. Like it's good to go.
Yeah, those well, you guys had a wood burning in your
This
tent
was
out.
a wood burning stove,
Yeah,
but the other team brought with them the diesel fuel stove. And it
diesel
failed.
drip. Yeah, yeah.
That's the problem. It failed. So they were all cold the whole time. And then
Oh, really?
I don't know. I think they got it. I think they had to request a secondary from the fob.
Uh, oh no.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, Larson was laughing. He's like, "Well, I should have brought the diesel," but then we were like, "Well, yeah, but then it would have failed." He's like, "Well, yeah, like
Yeah.
the problem with wood is that we ran into is we had a couple of like bundles of I was gonna say a bad word for a second. We had a couple of bundles of wood and sticks
Wood.
that we wanted to that we were burning. And then after we ran out of that, we had to literally gather our own firewood, and that took so much time.
Yeah.
We were ended up burning fucking sticks and shit all night. It would be easier, considerably easier to just burn tanks of diesel, but it's a
Yeah.
trade-off because at least this thing's gonna work. You just have to
Yeah.
find wood for it. But finding the wood then took manpower away from everything else.
Right, right. Yeah, team size and team dynamics are a big factor if you're doing real small team stuff like what you guys were relegated to, because just because of the small turnout, it does take a lot of manpower away. If it were more of like a like a platoon size element, obviously no problem, send 3 to 5 guys out, go cut down a tree and cord it up, and then you'll be good with wood for fucking week.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot harder when you have such a small team and you can only send 1-2 guys out at a time to
You know
do
what
it.
though, Teej? I'm grateful that we have such a small turnout because it really gives you an idea of what things can be like when you don't have have a small group of dedicated individuals and that's it.
Yep. Your insulated squad of people, yeah, and that's and that's it definitely correlates very heavily to SHTF in your community and your little network of people that you have, because I mean, they're
fight with 8 dudes, you can fight with 12, you can fight with 20. I mean,
exactly.
It just makes it easier and easier.
Yeah. And understanding team dynamics in general too, because I mean, even if you have a large group, you're going to sector off into squads to do squad shit, and then support each other with an operation and things, and that continuity there. So no, it is absolutely good experience like that, but it makes it harder logistically for certain duties. You notice logistics is a theme with everything that people are finally starting to kind of understand in the whole greater community. It's
Without logistics, you don't have shit, man. I mean,
exactly.
You're so right, though. I mean, you look at even just on the wider macro scale of things. I mean, logistics in the greater world, man. I mean, people never really gave it a second thought. Oh, this runs smoothly because it always has. Oh, until the fucking Chinese sent the bioweapon at us, and now it's like nothing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you got to rely on your people, and it's that's a big thing. Because I mean, when the music stops, what do you have? You're gonna have each other and your mutual aid group and your resources, and then you're gonna have to go from there. So that's a big part of it. Absolutely.
So guys, get cracking, get training and train your guys. I mean, find guys. You got no excuse. I don't care if you live out in the middle of bumpkin nowhere. Like you can find guys. Probably easier, honestly, sometimes to find guys who are willing to cooperate. But go out there and find events, find shooting clubs, find volunteer EMS or fire, or find whatever, and just start networking and get guys together, guys and girls, get them together, and then start training. You got no excuse, because what we've seen already happen is not the last of it. There's going to be more bullshit to be prepared for. and I don't can't tell you what, like even in the Bible, it says, even the angels in heaven don't know what's to come. But like, I'll tell you this, we know something's freaking happening, right? Something in the greater, larger scale of things is taking place. And in those days, the whole of Judea will flee to the mountains, and they won't even look back to gather their cloak. And I know I'm getting biblical here tonight.
Run to the hills.
Yeah, and then you got DJ over here just with a Viking fucking spear and a fucking helmet and nothing else. Loving it.
That reminds me, I need to get a traditional bow.
Oh, I'm glad I reminded you.
Yeah. There's a company out of Canada called Gravin Archery. They make traditional like medieval style longbows and warbows and stuff. I want to get one.
That's pretty sick, man.
Yeah, they don't cost that much either. They're like $400.
I got a friend that she keeps wanting to teach me how to shoot a bow. I know how to shoot a bow. I actually did it when I was a kid, but it's been forever. So I should take her up on that because
yeah, dude, archery's fun, and it's I mean it's a good skill to have,
Yeah, for real.
I mean, look at the dude in World War II. Landed on was it Juno Beach? The
where they fucking shooting people with bows and arrows.
Yeah, the dude got at least one confirmed bow kill. Fucking D-Day.
Warrior shit. And then you got Rambo, obviously, people left and right.
Yeah,
all you got to do is soak the arrow in some gasoline with some rags and shoot their tents. And
yeah,
good.
Yeah, and they leave them without shelter, and
that's it.
Yeah, I mean they'll make debris shelters, but it's going to take them a minute to recoup.
They'll be uncomfortable, which is what we want.
Yes, exactly. Comfort in winter warfare. Comfort is one of the highest things to achieve.
Well, I mean, it really is. I mean, I know you're half kidding about that, but you're also, it's funny because you're serious. Like,
true.
And this is one thing we found, and Doc told us this too, is like when you're leading your guys, in winter operations, the biggest thing you have to be aware of is that the whole time they're consciously and subconsciously thinking about their comfort. It's when will I be off sentry duty so I can go back in the fucking tent so I can be warm? When will I get another hour or two of sleep? When will I be able to eat another hot meal? And you have to constantly be telling them, okay, I'm going to put you out here for an hour. On the hour, I'm going to relieve you. And you have to actually relieve them because otherwise it will break trust and they won't trust you anymore. But you have to constantly be telling your men and letting them know, hey, I'm fucking here to take care of you. Like, this is my job as the PL or the APL. Like, I'm here to like make sure you survive, and it's really true. Like, you're literally the whole time you're not thinking of anything else. You're half thinking of the enemy, but then you're more than half thinking about, hey, when can I get back in my fucking bivy sack and get some rest?
Yep.
When can I get some fucking more Mountain House rations? Like, that's it.
Mountain House.
Oh man. I mean, compared to MREs, bro, they're pretty good, but
yeah,
I've had my quota for the year. I don't want to.
It was funny. I just ate a what is it? The Adobe chicken Mountain House meal the other day. Just
I haven't had that one
because I was craving a Mountain House for no reason whatsoever in particular. But it's one of like the like blue bag, the Pro Pack ones. It was good. It was good.
For those of you guys who don't know, Mountain House is now the official Arctic warfare ration of the U.S. Army.
Yeah,
that's why
they have been for a while, but they the freeze dried mountain warfare MREs are Mountain House the main courses. Yeah,
I like the fried rice, chicken fried rice. Pretty good.
It's good. Even the eggs are good. The
eggs, the granola with the blueberries is really good.
Yeah, and those are retailed on the Gutter Fighting Secrets.
Those are available on gutterfightingsecrets.com. Although I got to be honest with you guys, we have 3 packages left. So if you want one, get one now. Otherwise, they're going to sell out. We've sold out. I'm surprised, dude. I'm honestly like, this says something about the amount of people out there preparing. Almost all of our store has sold out. Like, we've literally sold almost all of our inventory. Almost all the gas. We have Israeli gas masks. We sold everything else. We have one, I think it's a Scott mask left. Like, it's fucking high end. It's like $500, but that's why we have it left. But we have, like, that's it. That's really it. And then we've got like a handful of other merchandise. If it's on the store, you'll see it. But man, like, I was impressed how many people out there are fucking prepping.
It's good to see. It's good to see. I've got.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say I've got I've got an SAS gas mask from when I did some training with a company that I don't think exists anymore, but it was founded by a couple of SAS guys. And they were doing some training between the US and Brazil and some other places called Trojan Security, like way back in the day. Got an SAS gas mask from them though, and then just got some new the soft CBRN full spectrum CBRN filters for it and everything. So yeah, it is. I digress. It is really good to see people actually taking a level of preparedness seriously without being like a FUD prepper, you know,
Yeah.
because there is a difference. And yeah, it is good to see people taking that seriously and you know, making sure that they're providing for and taking care of themselves by you know, taking advantage of so sick deals. So you know,
Really
um
were. We had some fucking
yeah,
amazing deals. You know, we had those Bin Laden targets where he was holding the AK.
yeah.
I had like 500. They're all gone.
Nice.
I never
Nice.
would have fucking guessed people want to shoot like he's dead, but like people still are like,
Oh yeah,
fuck Bin Laden, yeah.
I love those targets. Yeah, those are fun to shoot, man.
Shoot. Although you know what? I go to a certain shooting club and I walk in there and I'm taping up the Bin Laden target, fucking hosing him down. And the RO range officer comes up to me and he taps me on the shoulder. He goes, he's smiling. He goes, nice target. And I'm like, yeah, thanks. He goes, but we can't let you shoot that here. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And so then like the manager comes over and she's like, listen, I'm really sorry, but like that's like culturally insensitive. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is a terrorist, head of terrorist Al Qaeda, you fuck idiot. And so she was like, no, I don't have any problem with it. No one does. But like people from LA will come and like see you shoot Middle Eastern and like get really upset about it. And they were nice. Like they gave me a whole bunch of like targets, like their targets on the house. And like still when I go in there, they feel bad. They'll like give me free targets. But like yo, these fucking people, like they're culturally insensitive to shoot fucking Osama bin Laden. That's your patriotic duty.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It really is. I mean, you know, when you know, whoever, well, Rob O'Neill and then whoever else, you know, pumped him full of 77 grain OTM boat tails, you know, that's
That dude actually did kill him.
well, typical threat engagement in close quarters with the dev crew guys and delta guys and everything. It's going to be multiple shooters engaging the same target.
I know, but like, do you think it was really bin Laden they killed? Do you think they really were there and like did that shit?
You know, I think it was the manner in which they just kind of covertly like disposed of his remains in the middle of the ocean is kind of weird.
Yeah.
I think they did get him. Yeah.
Did we ever even see a fucking picture of his body?
Not an official one, no, but there are pictures.
Okay.
And I know individuals from the agency and stuff that and from special operations that have seen it.
Okay.
You know, so it jackpot confirmed, but
All right.
the disposal of his remains was a little weird because I would have hoped they would have you know, showboated that a little bit more.
Well, then they were like, oh, it's like a typical Muslim like fucking burial thing to bury at sea, but like,
Yeah.
that's kind of not true, isn't it? Like,
No.
like,
They
I've been in the Middle East, so you've seen the cemeteries there. They don't bury them at sea, man. Like,
no, they don't. They don't. So that was a little that was odd to me. I found that very odd.
yeah,
I probably one of the reasons why the Obama administration did that was so that nobody would get his remains and turn it into a
true,
martyr site.
true. Yeah.
I think that was one of the reasons why they did it, but I would have rather have seen his fucking skull paraded around the US or something, you know.
You know what I'm like baffled by is that the fact that that dude actually came out and they revealed his identity, the guy who shot him, because wouldn't that just make you number one target for Al Qaeda?
Yeah, you could be. Yeah. Oh, and I mean, yeah, a lot of the dev group guys that have come out, you know, whether it's Rob O'Neill or whoever else, DJ Shipley or whatever, you know, yeah, those guys, they have bounties on their heads that are still active from Al Qaeda.
I guess they just don't. I guess they're just fucking hardcore and they don't
Yeah.
care.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, they're top level guys, you know, but obviously if they were to go to certain places, now that they have gone public and are disavowed in a sense, you know, some certain places they probably could never go to again, you know. Not that they would want to, not that I blame them, you know, because
Yeah.
most of those guys that have come out are out of the game now. You know, they're instructors, they do public speaking, they do podcasts, they write books, you know, stuff like that. Tech advisors for Hollywood, you know, things like that. They're not in the game working for GRS or, you know, whoever anymore. So, you know, they've got a good life and that's good. You know, they wanted out of the game, so they're out of the game. So, but yeah, no, they're some of those guys definitely have bounties on their heads in foreign
I would assume
places.
so, man. Yeah, I mean, it takes fucking balls to come out and say, I fucking am the one who shot Bin Laden. Like, come at me, son. Like, man. So let's keep talking about this winter warfare stuff because I think it's really important. I mean, especially across the continental US, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Be careful how I word this, but let's just say it like this. So if anything ever did pop off with Russia, with China, even it gets pretty fucking cold in certain parts of China. Yeah. Like, knowing how to do this shit's fucking important.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
I really can't stress to everyone enough. I mean, we at Gutter Fighting Secrets have run the gamut, and DJ's been all over the world training as well and working. And, when I tell you guys that One Shepherd is the spot to be to learn how to survive in combat environment, like you're not going to get this training outside of the military. You will not get this level of fucking like competence elsewhere. So please, guys, yes, it takes a week of your time. Yes, it takes money. Yes, I'm aware. But if you can sacrifice both of those and go through at least 1 week, go through the Warrior Basic course, you'll be well ahead of the pack and know how to really what it takes to have a fighting chance in a combat situation.
100%. And I agree. One Shepherd Leadership Institute, and then S&S Training Solutions in conjunction with them, with their Miles Warfighter program, and then Winter Forge and the partnership that they have with One Shepherd, graciously hosting them at the One Shepherd Combat Maneuver Training Center and everything. It is some of the best basic warrior skills, small unit tactics, essential operations and survival skills and things like that, really all bundled up into one very reasonably priced package. That is worth the time to get down there to train. Now, for One Shepherd, I have to go down and do the 2-day basic warrior course at base in order to participate in the FTXs that I want to participate in, because I just want to go down for the FTXs. I'm still pretty fresh on a lot of the operational things. And I talked to Brent about this, and I talked to the A company commander about this. They just want me to just understand how they do things,
Yeah.
Because there is a difference. Which is fine. I'm fine with that. I just need to find the time to do it, but it is worth the time, 110%. And Winter Forge, embrace that suck, get out there and do it. And that's the same for Desert. One Shepherd's talking about opening a site in the desert in, I think, Nevada or Utah or something.
Oh yes, and I have breaking news to give you guys about One Shepherd is now opening up officially a Charlie company. That Charlie company is going to be in Florida. That Charlie is going to be in Florida at a National Guard base. All right. So you're going to be able to go down there, and I don't know the complete logistics about this, but allegedly we're going to be doing an FTX with the National Guard. So, this is going to be happening here.
Nice. In Florida they've activated their state guard again, different from the National Guard too. So I could see them doing some training with the state guard, the Florida State Guard too. It's the State Territorial Defense Force, and it has nothing to do with the DoD, because the National Guard's part of the DoD. People don't realize that. They're like, oh, the National Guard's a militia. No, it's not. It's part of the military. It's part of the DoD. Even though the governor has some control over the National Guard for domestic deployments within their state, they're still part of the DoD, part of the federal government. So now Florida has the State Guard as well, which is strictly a state territorial defense force, a state-run militia, territorial defense force. So I could see you guys doing some training with them with the Charlie company, or seeing One Shepherd do it with the training company, which is awesome. And it's pretty cool that they're doing it down there in Florida, because you get swamp and jungle warfare then.
Yep, exactly. And so allegedly they're going to be doing some kind of jungle warfare,
Yeah.
something or other. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. So I'm going to make sure my schedule is clear for that. I know I'm traveling like a banshee, like starting this year, but it's going to be fuck yeah, like time to train, mother flowers. So
Hell
if
yeah.
you guys can get down, I know this opens up another portion of population too. Like if you guys are around Florida, down south, anywhere, we're going to have hopefully one day though, a Delta company out, in my neck of the woods in the desert, but that's still a few years away. So
Yeah, that would be cool because then they would have everything because I mean Alpha and Bravo companies are woodland. I wouldn't say really mountainous terrain, but you've got the woodland aspect covered and then the winter aspect covered, but then yeah, having jungle and desert, being able to cover all of the different, archipelagos and stuff and kind of the climates and everything like that is huge
it would be
for a
amazing.
training company to be able to do.
And if you put a Delta company out, Nevada, Southern Utah, Arizona, the Colorado, even you've got
Yeah,
slash mountain in one, and boom, there you go. So
yeah, Pueblo, Colorado, which is like
yeah.
east of Denver. That's a dust bowl. I mean, that's desert out there.
Well, I went to ESI, Executive
Yeah.
whatever international, and that was in the desert in fucking Colorado. I forget where, but yeah.
Colorado is very interesting. It's almost a lot like Afghanistan because you got the mountains and everything, and then it's kind of flipped. But like the farther east and south you go in Colorado, it turns into desert, much like Afghanistan, where the farther south and west you go in Afghanistan, it turns into desert and it's all mountains otherwise. Very similar in that regard, which I think is really cool from a training perspective and everything. So that's really useful. I kind of wish NTC would have been in Colorado instead of California and Texas, but I mean, it was good for what it was for Iraq. So I mean, very appropriate for that. And I mean, like ESI and then Sec4 International as well. I mean, they've got a really, really good facility there in the desert.
Sec4 is in Tucson, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, like right outside of Tucson. Yeah.
I was actually just talking with those guys, and they have this course going on I think it's in the spring. And I said, well, tell me about it. They said, well, it's like 2 to 3 days of driving and then a medical day and then firearms day. And then I was like, all right, well, it sounds cool. Like I've literally done all of this a bunch of times, but like, all right. And I was like, well, what's the price point? They're like, you're looking at like $5 to $7 grand. I'm like, come on, man. Like I get it. Sec4 is very reputable. I've taken their executive protection navigation course, which was really good.
Oh, nice.
But you know what? Like
they just expanded their facility too.
did they?
Yeah, that's at least that's what I've seen from what they've been saying and stuff. Because I talked to them a little bit too. I know, one of the guys that was with them for a while as an instructor I knew. And then I just talking to him on social media otherwise and stuff. Yeah, they have a good thing going, but yeah, they're not cheap. But I mean,
they follow us on social media.
Neither was Academy when they still offered training to the public, which they don't do at all anymore. So
not at all anymore, unfortunately. It's expensive. Is it worth it? I'm sure it is if you haven't done that stuff before.
Yeah. If you've done it before and you're an alumni because you've attended for there before, you should get some kind of discount. I think that would be a very
no, I'm just saying, like, I'm an EMT, so I don't need to go and do their like 1-day medical.
Right.
I've done weeks upon weeks of evasive driving. I don't need to do that. Like I shoot all the but it's cool stuff. And if you got the cash and you can do it, I would definitely recommend Sec4 because they're very good.
Sec4, ESI, even CRI up there in Vegas.
Fuck ESI, man. You know how much a full
ESI is crazy.
Like $20,000.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, they accept the GI Bill for
those guys pay for it with their GI Bill.
For veterans, yeah. Same as Sec4, they do, and CRI, they all take GI Bill and Chapter 31 vocational rehabilitation and reemployment program, which is what I used to go back to college through the VA. That's the VA's GI Bill, basically. So all three of those accept those. And then you've got other ones like I mean, it's not really like full spectrum training programs like what they and then One Shepherd offer, but Thunder Ranch, Clint Smith and Thunder Ranch.
I want to get out there.
I mean, excellent shooting programs, for shooters. That's a good program. And then Refuge Medical for high end, like high risk medical training stuff. Shooting and doing medical. Refuge Medical is a big one too, that I would recommend. Those are really the big ones. And then a couple of other training companies kind of like that. There was another one I had sent the info to you a while back. I think they're out of like East Texas or Louisiana. A couple of former Spec Ops guys started training.
Yeah.
Another channel, Op4rater. He was just down there for one of their courses and stuff.
We had him on our podcast.
Op4rater,
Yeah. I know him. Yeah, he's a good guy.
He has videos up kind of summarizing and overviewing that company, that training event and that training company as well. I can't remember the name of it for the fucking life of me right now, but that's another one. But other than that, I mean, price wise, the best price you're going to get is with One Shepherd. So
yeah. And then, I mean, let's not forget Tactical Response. They're still around.
Tactical Response. Yep. Them too. I mean, they're not doing the FTXs and things like that, but again, good full spectrum training. If you want to go through their high risk contractor course, the other ones that they offer. I know him. Well, I know James Yeager from fucking rest his soul. I know him from his contracting background, and he was a cop beforehand, but then he started Tactical Response and then I saw what he was doing with the contractor course and everything. And I was like, yeah, he took exactly what he learned from being trained by, I can't remember if he was with Blackwater or if he was with Armor Group. Blackwater or Armor Group or whoever.
One of the subsidiaries, yeah.
Yeah. But he took that training and then started the high risk contractor course for Tactical Response, and it's exactly the same stuff. So that is really good training.
I went through all of them, all of the
yeah.
They're great courses.
Yeah, they are.
And they have a small unit tactics course. It's a great jumping off point. They have a direct action course, which is all ambushes. That's a great course.
Yeah,
I don't know if they still do them or not, but I would highly recommend any of those for sure.
Yeah, well, I know they do some of them still. They're gonna keep TR going. So
It's great.
I don't know how many of the courses they're gonna keep, but yeah, they're gonna keep it going. But again, yeah, a couple of different options, but One Shepherd for the price. One Shepherd is the best. And you just have to travel out to Alpha or Bravo and then soon Charlie Company to the events and stuff, and it's worth it.
Do it. It's so worth it.
Do it. Do it.
It's don't make fun of my accent, bro.
Some coffee.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Oh no, don't get me started there, bud.
Oh yeah, he's got the fucking do have a Midwestern accent sometimes, man. I've heard it.
They call it a Youper. Well, kind of a Youper accent, but yeah, kind of that whole North Midwest kind of thing.
You ever see that dude on social media, the Midwest guy?
Charlie Barons?
I think that might be it, where he does makes fun of the
Manitowoc Minute.
I think, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
man.
it's funny because Manitowoc is actually, he and I went to the same high school.
Okay.
Yeah, Charlie Barons and I went to the same high school. I think he was like a year or two behind me. He might have been in my brother's graduating class. I can't remember. But yeah, no,
that's the guy, Charlie Barons. Yeah,
Charlie Barons, yeah. Yep. 100%. Yeah, we went to the same high school. Yeah, we're from the same area.
How's your dad?
Oh yeah, you betcha. Yeah. Well, how about going down
Western girl for a little while, and she was telling me some of these expressions y'all use. I was fucking like, what the fuck are you guys talking? Every even a blind squirrel gets the acorn or some crazy shit like that.
Even a broken clock is right twice a day,
Yeah, all these things, like we don't got those on the East Coast.
And then it was funny too, because when I was interacting with a lot of international people, in the last contract I was on, with Triple Canopy, it was really funny because some of the younger ones that were like college students and stuff, they're like, "You talk funny. You guys talk funny here. We don't understand it because we say like yeah no for no
Yeah,
and
right,
no
right.
yeah for yeah."
Yeah.
And it confused the hell out of them. And it's like it's just a local colloquialism. It's just kind of that evolved slang, It's and then with the accent too, in telling them, it's much like how north of your country is different from south of your country with how certain words you use and things like that, and just how you pronounce things and enunciate and everything. Um, Midwesterners are by far the easiest to understand. Um, but we we can tend to have a little bit of a weird accent there, bud. You know?
Yeah, but y'all are good people, man. I've always said like Midwesterners are just good people. Like East Coast people are fucking rude. West Coast people are fucking fake. But Midwestern people are like a good combination of kind of both. Y'all are just like good. You just want the best for people.
Oh yeah, yeah. Super in the majority, unless you're in a major city like Chicago or Milwaukee or even St. Louis, like people are nice. I mean, you still get the assholes, obviously, especially in the major cities and stuff. But I mean, people are nice
Yeah.
until you do them wrong, and then they're your worst enemy. But
Yeah.
it's much like that in the South too. So a lot of similarities there. Super nice people. Otherwise, it's um yeah, that's how it is, and when I lived in the South, I was stationed in Georgia with the Army, and I lived in Texas as a kid too for a while too. And I loved it down there, and people are super nice too. Very similar kind of nice, but yet in a different way, that Southern hospitality that you hear of all the time.
Yeah.
So
Texas people, I like Texas, man. I like
oh,
Texas.
it's great. I
Yeah.
love it. I still have family down there too, so I need to go visit them.
Freest nation on earth.
Getting it right.
Well, listen, man. I mean, I could fucking sit here and bullshit all night, but
Oh
gotta
yeah.
go, gotta get some shit done for the work day tomorrow. So been a pleasure.
Okay. Yeah, hell yeah, brother. What should we summarize here real quick? Winter warfare.
Yeah, Winter Warfare. Let me just briefly go through this. So if you're gonna be going to Winter Forge ever, right? You haven't been, like, send me an email. I will talk to you about it if you're curious. But 3 days of training followed by 2 days out in the field. You might be living in a nice tent, or if you're on Brent's team, you might be living in a Von Rack shelter. Be prepared to be fucking cold. It's expensive because not the course, but like buying an Arctic sleeping bag is expensive. Buying all of the gear that you need can be costly. You can get all this stuff on eBay used and good prices, but you still have to spend money.
Yeah.
But once you have that stuff, it's yours to keep. And now you're legit prepared militiaman, or whatever you want to call it, for all 4 seasons. So it's well worth it. Go and get trained, learn how to put up a tent, learn how to fight in the cold. Don't be a pussy and do it. DJ, I mean, you got a lot to say about winter warfare. What could you leave us with?
I mean, PMCS your gear. Make sure your gear is squared away. The gear that you do get for these conditions, and then gear that you may have, check it over, make sure it's good to go. There's a lot of good learning material out there. So study, get outside, acclimate yourself, train where you can, and then go get training. Check out S&S Training Solutions website. Check out Brent 0331's videos. He did put a video up about the Von Reck shelter. You and I are in it because he took video from the last 2 years. And then he'll have a new video coming out with all of the content that he recorded of this year's, and everything else. So, just get out there and get after it. And again, yeah, hit Will up, and then I'm around too. And we'll answer questions, and just get out there, learn, check your gear, pick up some kit, and then just get out there and get after it, and go do training. So it's good
Do
stuff.
it, do it, do it. Don't be a pussy. Do it. All right, DJ. Pleasure as always, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. It was good seeing you.
Next time, ladies and gentlemen, remember, go check out our store, get some hand-to-hand combat training all online. You are your first and last line of defense. And
Oh, you stay adaptive and stay lethal there, bud.